was good to be back in the wilderness again, where everything seems at peace. I was alone, just me and the animals. It was a great feeling, free once more to plan and do as I pleased. Beyond was all around me. My dream was a dream no longer. I suppose I was here because this was something I had to do. Not just dream about it, but do it. I suppose, too, I was here to test myself. Not that I had never done it before, but this time it was to be a more thorough and lasting examination. What was I capable of that I didn't know yet? Could I truly enjoy my own company for an entire year? And was I equal to everything this wild land could throw at me? I had seen its moods in late spring, summer, and early fall, but what about the winter? Would I love the isolation then? With its bone-stabbing cold, its ghostly silence? At age 51, I intended to find out. Another 100 yards, and I broke out of the brush to my pile of cabin logs I had cut last July. I sat down and leaned against them, and while I chewed on a chunk of smoked salmon, my eyes wandered over the peeled logs. That had been a big job last summer. Hard work, but I enjoyed it. It was cool in the timber, and there were mornings I could see my breath. I had harvested the logs from a stand of spruce less than 300 yards from where they were now piled. The logs were a great deal lighter now than they were then, and could be handled easily enough.
It was in the late spring of 1968 that Dick Prenneke decided to leave civilization behind to live in a pristine land yet unchanged by man, and to roam a wilderness through which few other humans have passed. While carving out a new life in this remote valley known as Twin Lakes, Dick would not only keep daily journals, but would film his Alaskan odyssey with the help of a tripod-mounted camera.
It was time to be moving on. I was anxious to get to Spike's cabin to see if it was the way I had left it last September. About 500 yards more through the spruce and the willow brush, and there it was. Its weather-grade moose antlers spreading just below the peak of the roof, a tin can on its stovepipe, and its windows were boarded up. The cabin had everything needed to set up housekeeping until my own cabin was completed. A good stove, 2 bunks, and a roof that didn't leak. It's May 22nd, up with the sun at 4 o'clock to watch the sunrise and the sight of the awakening land. It seems a shame for eyes to be shut when such things are going on, especially in this big country. I don't want to miss anything. Today I would hike the 5 miles down to the lower lake to pack my third and last load of gear, my tools with which to build my cabin. This time with the binoculars along, I would have an excuse to stop now and then and glass the slopes for game. From this high vantage point, the hills seemed to come alive with animals. I suddenly didn't feel so alone anymore. almost noon before I got back to the cabin. The rest of the day I devoted to my tools. I carved a mallet head out of a spruce chunk, augered a hole in it, and fitted a handle to it. This would be a useful pounding tool, and I hadn't had to pack it in either. The same with the handles I made for the wood augers, the wide-bladed chisel, and the files. Much easier to pack without the handles already fitted to them. Hope Creek has cut a big opening into the lake ice. Was it too early to catch a fish? I took the casting rod along to find out. It didn't take long. After several casts, it happened with the suddenness of a broken shoelace. I slid the 19-inch trout onto the stones. Fish with my beans tonight. It's May 25th. Breakup is not the spectacular sight it was last year. A big wind would have cleared the thin ice out yesterday. As I loaded tools on the packboard this morning, the rotted ice began to flow past in quiet exit. When you have miles and miles of lakefront and picture views to consider, it's difficult to select a building site. The more a man looks, the fussier he gets. I cleared the brush and hauled up beach gravel and spread it to a depth of several inches over an area roughly 20 feet by 20 feet. I felt I had made the best possible choice. It would be 11 feet by 15 feet. Its front door would face northwest, and the big window would look down to the lake. A pile of logs. Which ones to start with? To make a notch fit properly, you can't rush it. Make several saw cuts an inch or two apart, almost down to the pencil line, and whack out the chunks with an axe until the notch is roughly formed. Then comes the finish work, the careful custom fit. I have just the tool for the job. One log in particular required considerable hewing to straighten it. I must say white spruce works up nicely with an axe and draw knife. Enough for this evening. The job has begun. Tomorrow should see more working and less figuring.
To order a copy of Alone in the Wilderness, please call this toll-free number or send check or money order to the address listed below.